We are going to keep you guys mute. Um, and there will be a Q&A at the end for people if you want to drop questions during the webinar. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat bar. My business partner, Mike, uh, is going to be manning the chat bar. But thank you guys for joining us. I am TK, your presenter tonight. Most of you that hang around the Appliance Alliance and have been a part of the Service Alliance community for a while, most of you know me. Um, and I appreciate you guys being here tonight, taking time from your family or whatever you have going on to be here. We're going to be talking about next level service tonight. This is actually a redone version of a presentation I did at the PSA conference last year, and I got a lot of good feedback on it. And I said, when we started doing these webinars, I said I want to do that next level service presentation, but kind of redo it a little bit. I learned a lot since then. Got a lot of feedback from people when I did it. But if you get a chance, go over to this link right here, servicealliancegroup.com, and Mike is actually going to drop that link in the chat so you guys will have it. This is a workbook we put together for this webinar. And it's going to help you to follow along. Now, it's completely up to you, but my suggestion would be pay attention during the webinar. This is going to be recorded. It's going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and then go back and do the workbook. Now, if you're a better multitasker than me, feel free to go ahead and download it now and try to follow along at the same time. But my suggestion would be go to the link. It's going to ask you to make a copy. It's going to be a Google Doc, and it's going to ask you to make a copy, and then it'll make you your very own copy that you can edit and mark up. But I am going to pull this up real quick and just show you how it works. So it's going to pop up a screen like this. You're going to click make a copy, and it's going to pull up this workbook. And I just want to walk through real quick and kind of show you guys real simplistically how this is going to work. Um, we're going to be going through the customer journey. So when I say the customer journey, it's going to be from the very first contact a customer makes with you all the way to the follow up and your customer retention processes at the end. So everything that has to do with the time they come to your website, the time they call your business line, the time they shoot you an email, however customers get in contact with you from the first contact all the way to the end, we're going to go through each step. And what you're going to do, this is first step right here, stage one, first contact. You're going to go through, in each stage of the customer journey, you're going to rate yourself. So 1 through 5, obviously, 1 being the weakest, 5 being the strongest. So it's almost like you're giving yourself either 5 stars or 1 star. And you have to sit there and be honest with yourself and say, hey, am I really good at this stage of it? Am I killing it in the first contact stage? Or is there room for improvement? And then what you're going to do is you're going to do a SWOT analysis of that stage of your customer journey. So you'll write down the strengths you have in that section. You write down the weaknesses you have in that section. You write down any opportunities for you to improve, things that you see where you can say, I could implement this. I could do this very easily to make it better. And also any threats, anything in that particular section that you consider a threat or something that is kind of working against you that you need to work on. Then you can choose one improvement idea. And then this next one's super important. And I cannot stress this more. Do you have an SOP for this stage? If you don't know what an SOP is, it's a standard operating procedure. And basically it is your map for procedures in your business. So it's a written out detailed step-by-step um, list of how you do things. And then you're going to do your non-negotiables for that stage. As a business owner, excuse me, you should have non-negotiables for businesses in things that you say, no matter what, these things have to be done. And as you can see, you're going to go through each one: first contact, pre-visit, arrival and professional presence, diagnosis, wrap up, follow up. And then at the very end, you're going to put out all of the ratings and your improvement idea. And then you're going to have a 48-hour action plan. You're going to choose which one of these that you can improve on. I would suggest improving on the one you rated the lowest first, because that's going to be the one that you're going to need the most help with. But that's a little overview of the workbook. It's super simple. Didn't make it complicated for you guys. This is something you should be doing regularly. It shouldn't be one of those one and dones. And my suggestion, let me get a couple of these tabs off my screen. My suggestion would be pay attention right now while I'm going through this stuff. And then once we upload the video, you can go back and go through the workbook. And there's that. All right. So what to expect today? We're going to do a practical framework to standardize your service. We're going to go over some scripts for handling difficult conversations. We're going to go over real world tactics to boost customers' trust. My business, Richmond Appliance guys, we have a theme that me and my business partner run our business by. And my business partner taught me this when I was first getting into the appliance industry. I didn't know anything. And this is how I run my business. And I think it is a great motto or a great theme um, to do business by. And that's be a decent human being first and a businessman second. You're going to hear me talk about this probably throughout this process, but the customer experience is everything. And the customer experience is hinged on the way you make the customer experience great is by treating them like a human being first, putting their needs, their wants, their cares before your own selfish gain or anything else, and just treating people right. Our core philosophy at Richmond Appliance guys is a new customer will be a repeat customer. That's our motto. When that customer comes, or we come to that customer's house and they have an experience with us, we want it to be a lasting experience. We want it to be an impression that they think about next time and they're like, man, they were awesome. Those Richmond Appliance guys, they know what they're doing. They communicated well. They set the expectations well. They took good care of my house, all those things. So our goal with every single customer is that that customer will be a repeat customer. If you have a motto or a slogan or a something for your business, take a second real quick if you don't mind and drop it in the chat. Just type it in, whatever your motto is, whatever your slogan is. If you don't have one, that's something to think about. Because a motto for your business is important. It should reflect kind of your business's character, your business's motives, your business's focus. And our focus at Richmond Appliance guys is always giving the best experience possible. All right, so today's agenda, we're going to map the customer journey. We're going to spot hidden friction. We're going to master service scripts, and we're going to create a 30-day plan. Now, let me say something about the master service scripts. I'm not going to sit here and give you the scripts for you to give to your customers. That's something you have to do. But we're going to discuss it, and we're going to go over it. And one thing that I'm really big on is when you do scripts, they are a guideline of things for your team to say. You do not want your team reading from a script and sounding like a robot. You do not want your CSR answering the phone and sounding like she's reading from a piece of paper. So there's going to be a lot of training involved. There's going to be a lot of role playing involved. I highly recommend if you don't do regular team meetings, you do them. And during your team meetings, this is the time you work the kinks out on how to handle different situations. Whatever that looks like. And then we're going to create a 30-day plan. So we're going to leave this webinar today with actionable steps for you to upgrade your service operations immediately. And my biggest thing with that is don't put this off. Like you came here, you set aside the time, put this stuff into action once you're done. Where's your biggest friction? Every service business has a leaky bucket stage. Which part of the customer journey gives you the most headaches? Um, Go ahead and drop yours in the chat if you want. Is it first contact? Is it pre-visit? Is it arrival? Is it diagnosis? Is it wrap up? Is it follow up? We probably all have certain spots on this list that we're like, man, I kill it in that spot. Man, you guys are most of you guys are technicians, and I imagine a lot of you guys are like, man, I'm the diagnosis master. But maybe your first contact isn't that great. I'm willing to bet that you're like me, and I've been transparent about this before. My follow-up isn't the best. I'm still I'm still seeing things within my company that I'd like to improve. But with technology and AI, what it is now, and all these automations that we have, so much of this stuff can be automated. So much of this stuff you can take off of your plate and allow your CRM that you're using, whether you're using House Call Pro or Workies or Service Titan or ServiceWorks or any of those different softwares, those things have lots of automations and you should be using them. But we're going to identify where your biggest friction is before the end of this. All right, so let's get right into it, folks. I'm going to take me a quick sip of water, though. I hope you guys, I'm a little thirsty. Forgive me. Um, so first contact. This involves your website. This involves your email. This involves your CSR, whoever's answering your phones. Involves your phone system. If your CSR is on the other line, what happens? Do they just go to a voicemail? What does your voicemail sound like? If I call your business right now and I listen to your voicemail, does it sound professional or does it sound like you underneath a washer machine making a voicemail message while you're trying to change a drain pump? I've actually called people's voicemails that are business owners, and it literally sounds like they were driving down the road with their windows down while they recorded their voicemail message. So make sure it sounds professional. I personally, and this is a personal thing, I like a nice lady's voice on a voicemail. My voice, y'all can hear my voice right now. My voice is not voicemail material. And I personally like a nice lady's voice on the voicemail, but you do you, whatever you prefer for your business, but make it pleasant, make it nice, make it something that's going to be memorable. Now I'm going to share my story, and Mike laughs at me every time I share this story. When I first met Mike, I had created my own website. And that's part of first contact is when a customer comes to your website, that first impression that your website makes means something. And I was cocky, man, and I was prideful, and I was like, man, I don't care what my website's like. I don't need a good looking website. Um, and then I had Mike build me a website. And I realized, man, my website was horrible. I mean, my website was bad. I built it myself, and I'm no computer guru. Um, but I used to think, and I don't have this thought process anymore. Thank God. I used to think that good enough was good enough. But good enough isn't good enough when it comes to the first impression you're giving that customer. When that customer goes to richmondapplianceguys.com now, they see a beautiful website. They see a schedule a service call button. They see a schedule a virtual call button. They see all these different things that Mike's put on my website and all these awesome stuff. And it's impressive and it looks professional. And then I carry on that professionalism throughout the customer journey. So we're going to go over some
I'm gonna
non-negotiable.
interrupt you right there, TK.
All right, go ahead, buddy.
None of it matters if you're not answering the damn phone.
That's true.
Period. Make sure you're answering your phones. That's the
That's a
first
great point.
impression. If somebody calls you and you're missing a phone call, that could be their first real impression of your business.
That's a great point. And I was and that is number one. If you are in here right now and you are still answering your phone, one of your goals needs to be to stop answering those phones. And I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you hire somebody in-house. I don't care if you hire a company like My Office Help. I don't care if you hire a virtual assistant. You are a business owner and you are a technician. You are not a CSR. Unless that's why you started. If you started an appliance company to answer phones, then first off, that's weird. And second off, you're weird, but you're a technician. You're great at fixing things. I can almost guarantee you the only person's face I can see is Mike Morton. Mike Morton, I'm gonna guess that you're not that great at answering phones, but you're probably good at fixing washer machines. So if you can get your wife to do it, if you can get a company like My Office Help to do it, if you can get whoever to do it, get off those phones. I just recently hired My Office Help as backup for my CSR. So now we don't miss any calls. If my CSR is on the phone, it rings straight to My Office Help. My Office Help grabs the call, gets all the information, gets them on the schedule. No problem. That's the type of first contact and the type of experience you want to give them. If their first experience is they call Mike and they're sitting on the phone and Mike's up underneath, and I'm just using you as an example, buddy. And Mike doesn't answer, that is a really bad first impression. So if the shoe fits, put it on. If it doesn't, then just smile. All right, so five non-negotiables for first contact. Set pricing expectations up front. Um, you do not want to get out there and the customer be like, "What? I didn't know there was a trip charge. I got to pay for you to come out and diagnose it." All this stuff has to be not only explained, but put it in writing. With the automations that we have nowadays, once they book, you should be able to send out an expectation email and text to your customer that says all the different things you want them to know before you get out there. Hey, we'd like your model number, a picture of your model number. Hey, we'd like to let you know that we need the air. How many times have you walked into a job and there is stuff and clothes and junk and you name it piled all around the appliance? And you got to spend 15 minutes moving stuff just to get to the washer machine. Set the expectation. Now, is it going to work 100% of the time? No, but it'll work 85% of the time. So set the pricing expectations up front too. Let them know what your service fee is. Now, this is a controversial topic, but I give the customer an idea of what it's going to cost before I get out there. And a lot of people won't do this, but I do. And I do it to weed out the cheap people. I don't if you won't pay me at least $250 plus parts, I don't even want to come to your house. Inform about the 2 hour service window. Your service window might be different. You might have a 4 hour window, you might have a 3 hour window. I've met companies with 8 hour windows. Explain your cancellation policy. Ours 24 hours. If you do not cancel within 24 hours, you're going to get a missed appointment fee. Use a CSR script or checklist. Standardize the intake process to capture all critical data. Your CSR should have a checklist that she's going down when she's scheduling a customer, making sure that she told them about the service fee, told them about keeping the area clean, told them about the 24-hour cancellation policy, told them about the 2 hour window. And the 2 hour window, you need someone there that whole time. It's super important. Respect our time and theirs. If you don't respect our time, we can't prioritize you. That's a big one. Customers, we just actually did a new thing with a $50 booking fee. Our customers pay $50 to get on the schedule. Some people collect the whole service fee up front. Do what works for your company, but the cancellations will either be non-existent or will dwindle down to almost nothing if you make them put a little skin in the game to get on the um on the schedule. All right, we went over all that. So let me say this before we jump into pre-visit. Um, the first contact that you make with the customer is their first impression. That impression that you make needs to carry on throughout the whole thing. So from the beginning to the end, you need to be showing that customer that you are professional, you care about them, and that they matter to you. Sending text out. So the customer's called, they've gotten on the schedule, they went to your website, they booked service. However, they've made first contact. Now you're getting prepared to go out to the call. You're heading out, the tech's heading out, whoever's heading out. You need to notify the customer after they book, they should get a text. So after my customer books, 30 minutes later, Workies sends them a confirmation text to confirm the job. And then the day of, they get another reminder saying, hey, don't forget, TK's coming out today between 10 and 12. Make sure that somebody's there. Um, it must include all the job details, tech name, photo, time window, and service call fee. All right, so here's one thing that I highly recommend. Not everybody does this. We actually had a thread about this recently in the Facebook group. But on your way there, I highly recommend you call the customer. It sets the mood for the entire call. You get to kind of feel that customer out before you get there. Are they in a good mood? Are they a jolly happy customer? Are they a hey, let's get to the point and get this done customer? I like to feel them out on the way there. That way I can prepare myself to how I'm going to handle that call. Because I don't handle all service calls the same way. If you're an easygoing, laid back person, I'm going to handle you a lot differently than I'm going to handle somebody who's straight to the point, strictly business. Hey, let's get this done. I'm that type of customer, that straight to the point, strictly business customer. They're going to get the straight to the point, get it done TK. I'm not going to chit chat them. I'm not going to talk them up. I'm going to just go in there, blow their socks off with professionalism, go above and beyond like I do for every customer. But I'm going to cut out a lot of the chit chat because those customers don't have time for. Proactive workspace prep. Let them know. You've already let them know the workspace needs to be clear. Reiterate it. This is your time to reiterate the things that you said during first contact, so that when you get there and there is clothes piled up 6 feet above the washer machine, you can say, hey, I thought we mentioned to get this cleared out for me. And obviously we still see that a lot. I know I do. If you do property management work, you've gone out on a call and had to dig through a mountain of clothes. Sometimes you gotta make a path to the um spot. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background. My wife just got home. All right, so we already went over this a little bit. These scripts that you give your technicians, CSR, etc., they're not going to be read directly. You're not trying to make robots. So when your techs do their pre-call, give them some freedom to be themselves. Give them some freedom to say it how they want to say it, because nobody wants to talk to somebody that sounds like they're reading something off of a script. All right, here's the most important. Before you go out, before you leave, before you hit that thing, have you pre-trip diagnosed this call? I put this pre-trip diagnosis in the pre-visit section, but it's part of first contact too, because your pre-trip diagnosis is hinged off of the information that that CSR collected when she took the call. So if your CSR is a good CSR like mine is, she can pre-trip diagnose a good bit of the information before she comes out. My CSR isn't a technician, but she's been in the appliance industry for 20 years. So she knows when a customer calls in and says their washer machine is filling with water when it's not on, we need to order a valve. She knows all these different things. She knows that if the customer calls in and gives an error code, we need to look it up and see what it is or see what possibly could be. I took my pre-trip diagnosis to a new level lately. And what we're doing now is we're doing virtual calls. And if you've ever considered this, I highly recommend you look into it. I do virtual calls with my customers before I go out, and every single one of them turns into a first call complete. It either turns into a first call complete or it turns into a no no service call at all, and it's just a virtual call. But I get that person that would have been just a trip fee off my schedule because I'm out there to sell jobs, not collect trip fees. So if it was something super simple, if it's something that I was going to condemn, et cetera, it gets them off the schedule. But that pre-visit is everything. Before you get there, you're getting prepared and getting not just yourself prepared, but the customer prepared. And especially for the newer technicians, this is the time where they're preparing for that call. This is the time that they're not just preparing the customer, but preparing themselves because they don't have the experience that a lot of the more seasoned techs have. All right, so they've made first contact. You've headed to the call, you've notified the customer, you got your pre-trip diagnosis, you got the parts you need, you're ready to go. You either picked up the parts from the supply house or you had them at the shop, you grabbed them from the shop. Now you're arriving at the customer's house. The the arrival is an impression that a lot of people take take don't take as seriously as they should. The way you look when you pull up to that house matters. Is your van clean? Where do you park? Do you block the customer's driveway? I personally try my absolute best to never park in the customer's driveway unless I need to. There is times when I do, but if there's a spot on the street and I have to walk a couple extra feet, because part of it's out of respect for the customer, but part of it's because I don't want to be knee deep into that French door bottom out refrigerator, all up in the bottom, defrosting that evaporator, laying down on my side. And then Mrs. Johnson comes in and says, I need to go run to the store. Could you move your van for me? Has anybody ever had that happen? Anybody? It's just me? Okay, Mike's with me. Mike's with me. It's frustrating, right? So park out of their way. Don't block their driveway up. Don't be in their way. Like it shows respect to the customer, but it also saves you time. I can't stand having to jump up. And it's not that big of an inconvenience, but it is an inconvenience. Like I'm there, I'm rocking. I got my steamer going. I'm defrosting that evaporator. I ain't got time to move my van, Miss Johnson, but of course I'm going to because I'm a professional. But if you don't park your van in the driveway to begin with, you don't have to. So you're arriving. Your van looks nice. You got it. Maybe you have your van all wrapped and lettered up and beautiful. Um, what does your uniform look like? These are the things you're going to be thinking about when you're going through the workbook. Each of these processes, you're going to be thinking about what could I do to improve this section? And you might be sitting there saying, man, I'm really good at this one. Just because you're really good at it doesn't mean there's no room for improvement. I can guarantee you that if I came to your operation and I rode with you for a day, I could give you some suggestions of things to improve. I can guarantee you that. So think of it that way. Say, you know what? I am really good because most of us are probably good at a lot of these. But what could you improve? Do you look professional when you walk up to the door? Is your shirt tucked in? Does your uniform match? Is your hair looking on point? Is your beard all frazzled or coming out sideways? What do you look like? That's the first impression that customer is going to get of you. What do your technicians look like? Forget you. What do your technicians look like? I'm gonna share a story real quick. I had a technician and I went to meet him on a job. And I'm a little ashamed to tell this story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. And I went to meet this technician on a job and I pulled up and he got out of his truck and he had mismatched slides on, one Adidas slide, one Nike. Slides, not shoes, slides. Mismatched socks, holes in his pants, and a hoodie that looked like his dog slept with it. And I looked at him and I said, dude, what are you wearing? He said, oh man, he said, I didn't get a chance to do laundry and my good shoes. I messed my good shoes up over the weekend. And I was dumbfounded. He's like 19-year-old kid. I said, dude, I said, do not ever show up to one of my customers' houses looking like that again. And you know what? You know who? Let me ask you, who thinks that was his fault? It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. You know why it was my fault? Because I didn't have a uniform policy in place. He hadn't agreed to wearing a uniform. But guess what? I put in place the very next day, a uniform policy. So if you don't have a policy, don't expect the 19-year-old to do it. But when they arrive, they got to look professional. They got to look they got to look like a good representation of your company. I already went over this. Park the professional van wrapped. Walk on the sidewalk, never the grass. Ring the bell. Step back 6 feet and smile. I like the step back because a lot of times we want to crowd that door. Um, Once you ring that doorbell, step back, give them a little space. Ring the doorbell, step back, smile. Give them the white glove protection. When you get there, upon arrival, you need to assess your workspace and see what you need to do to protect this customer's stuff. Um, you see it, see down here at the bottom. I can't remember who posted this idea in the group. I think it was Jeremy Godfrey. It might have been, I can't remember who it was. But these custom oversized mouse pads, you can order them on Amazon. You can get your logo put on them. They're awesome. Highly recommend those. You walk in, you lay that out. You put your tool bag down. You get your moving blanket. I bring in a moving blanket on every job. Stop laying on the customer's floor. It looks unprofessional. Bring your moving blanket. Lay it out in front of the appliance. These are the things that are going to blow that customer's socks off. You're giving them that white glove service. Um, we're going to go over this real quick because let me check the time. It's 8:35. Icebreakers. This is a big one. When you're going into that customer's house, you want to break the ice. And I'm a people person, so this comes naturally to me. Like I don't really need, I still do it, but look for something to talk about. A sports team, something about their car, something about their yard. Maybe you see some fishing gear. Maybe you see some camping gear. Yeah, maybe you notice they have kids. Maybe they just have an absolutely beautiful house. And I use this one a lot. I'll walk into the customer's house and I say, "You have such a beautiful home." And Starting the interaction off with a compliment to the customer, it sets the tone. They're like, man, this guy's a super friendly guy. This guy's nice. Um, and using that observation that you get to build a relationship with that customer. And over years, you'll build these relationships and things you talked about 2 years ago when you were there, they'll bring it up when you come back. Hey, how was that fishing trip you went on? Hey, last time you were here, your daughter was doing so and so. Just chat it up, break the ice. All right, so we got past arrival. You're gonna go through the workbook and grade yourself on these and do all that stuff. So the customer's scheduled the call. The technician in CSR is pre-tripped. The technician has gone to the house. He's gotten set up. He's greeted the customer. He's parked out of the way. He's done all these things to get going. And now it's time to diagnose. This is not a lesson to teach you how to diagnose appliances. This is a lesson to teach you how to handle that interaction with the customer while you're diagnosing. The number one thing that I tell people, especially new guys, is always get permission and confirmation before you make a repair. I have seen this burn more than one technician where they go in and they put a part on that appliance and they never mentioned how much it's going to cost to the customer. That has to happen. Because and if you're the type of guy that does this, I have been there and I've done it myself, and I had to train myself out of it. You will get one where you go in there and you make a repair without getting approval, and they're going to be like, you never asked me you never told me how much it was. You never got my approval. So if that's you, I know you think you're going to be fine doing it like that. Trust me, it will come back to bite you one day. You're going to explain your diagnosis in fifth grader language. One thing you have to do when you're dealing with a customer is remember they are not an appliance repair technician. They don't know anything about refrigerators. They don't know anything about seal systems. They don't know anything about washers. The only thing they know is they throw the clothes in the washer, they put the detergent in, it washes, and then they move it to the dryer. So you have to talk to them, not like they're stupid, but just dumb it down. Explain the diagnosis in plain English. Avoid technical jargon, so that they understand what failed and why. I oftentimes use other type of illustrations. Like if I'm talking about the control board, I'll say, well, basically the control board is the brain of the appliance. It's the brain. Or if I'm talking about the compressor, I'll say the compressor is like the heart. It's pumping the refrigerant out. Or just making simple, easy to understand comparisons so that they understand what you're talking about. Prioritize customer education. I'm a big one on this. I'm a big one with my guys on this, and we train our guys on customer education. You're not just there to fix the unit, you're also there to fix the customer. Because the customer can oftentimes be doing things wrong, and you need to give them some customer education. You pull that kick plate off of that refrigerator, and there's 8 inches of dog hair on that condenser coil. Hey, guess what? You need to clean this every 6 months. Or they say, I know you've heard this one. You pull the kick plate off, and they say, "Oh, I didn't know that came off." And then you're like, "Yeah, this is your condenser down here. You need to clean this every so often." They had no idea. And then you know what you do? You offer to come back and clean it for her every 6 months. You put together a little maintenance package so that they can pay you to come back and clean it. Elderly people do not want to get down on the floor and pull their kick plate off, and they definitely don't want to pull that. A lot of them you got to hit from the back now. They definitely don't want to pull that French door bottom mount LG out and clean behind it. So prioritize that customer education, cleaning your condenser regularly, cleaning your washer and dishwasher regularly, getting your dryer vent clean, getting the inside of your dryer vent clean. There's a laundry list of customer education things that we do. But you need to make a list. Write out your customer education list and then put it in an easily accessible format to give it to your customer, whether it's in an invoice, whether it's in an email, whether it's on a link on your website. Give it to your customer in a way where they have these tips and tricks so that they can have them forever. I attach it to my invoices. It's just the easiest way to do it. Validate with visual proof. Once you've diagnosed it, use photos or videos to show the failed part, clogged vent, whatever it is. Visual evidence helps. If you can show the customer, hey, oftentimes what I like to do too is pull the broken part off and show them, hey, here's where your element broke. Show them the break in it. You know, see how this pump spins freely like that? It's not supposed to spin like that. Here's the new one. You see how this pump has that tension on it? That's what a good pump feels like. Kind of give them a little bit of education and then present transparent options. Don't sell jobs that you don't think are good repairs. Present the repair versus replace options clearly. Let them know what their options are, and then always at least get verbal consent to do the repair. I'm actually leaning, we have a team meeting tomorrow. I'm actually leaning towards starting to get written consent for every repair because we've had a few things bite us in the tail here recently. And I'm thinking about just making a super easy signature spot. It's already set up in WorkEase. All I got to do is click a button to activate it. But that's up to you. All right, so you've diagnosed the appliance, you've made the repair, the appliance is fixed, you are the hero, you got consent, the customer approved the repair, you put the drain pump on, you swapped out the element, you did whatever. Um, I always tell my guys, go above and beyond. If you open that dryer up, clean the inside out. Check the vent. If you pull that refrigerator out, you got your floor protection down, you pull that refrigerator out, you protect their floors, all that good stuff. If you pull that refrigerator out, go ahead and wipe behind it for the customer. You know that Miss Johnson wants to get back there and do it. Why don't you do it for her and show her what a great company you are? I used to have a someone that used to tell me, well, that's not our job. We're not Molly made. That's a horrible attitude. You're not Molly Maid. You're a professional appliance repair technician who wants Miss Johnson calling you back every time. And that's going to be a lasting impression you leave on her. Sorry. So as you're wrapping things up, you're going to execute the white gloves standards. You're going to clean the dryers, the condensers, wipe the floor, behind pulled out refrigerators. We just went over that. Leave their space cleaner than you found it. Don't leave a mess for your customers to clean up. One thing I actually do is I always ask the customer, I was like, at the end, I said, does everything look good? Okay. Do we clean up okay? Just to kind of get a verbal consent. They're like, hey, everything looks good. And sometimes, the customer will say, oh, don't worry about that. We'll put it back. If they feel more comfortable cleaning things up themselves or whatever, cater to the customer, whatever they want, it's fine. Documentation and safety. Take your before and after photos of the repair. When you're this should be on arrival too in your SOPs, but you got to get before and after pics. Before and after pics are so important. When your technician gets there, he takes a picture of the area. He takes a picture of the floor. He takes a picture of the model tag. It gets uploaded into your CRM. Then when he's done, he takes an after pic. One thing we just implemented is before and after pictures of the actual repair itself. So I want to see a picture of the broken element, and I want to see a picture of the new element installed and glowing. And these are super important because when Miss Johnson calls you a few days later and says, you know, John, when he was out here the other day, he scratched my floor. Well, if John got a picture of her floor before, and I train my guys, if you see anything, a scratch, a dimple, a crack, a whatever, bring it to the customer's attention immediately and document it with a picture. So before I pull that fridge out, I'm looking around the area. I'm looking at the floor. A lot of times you see those wheel marks already on the floor of that hardwood. You better document that and show it to Miss Johnson, or guess what? As soon as you pull that fridge out, you put that there. And you have no way to prove it unless you took those pictures. All right, parts ordering and policies. You're going to go over your parts ordering policy. We do 7 to 14 business days. We're typically back within 3 to 5. We don't we set the expectation at 7 to 14, and then we're back within 3 to 5. It blows the customer's socks off. Man, I thought you guys were going to be 7 to 14 days. You're back already. So you're setting these expectations as you're wrapping things up. Sometimes you got to order a part. Sometimes you got to get a part in. Don't tell the customer, "Oh, we'll be back in a few days." You don't know that. You don't know when that part's going to get there. You don't know how busy you're going to be. You don't know what things are going to come up between now and then. So set the expectation at a little bit longer. That way, when you get back sooner, the customer's still happy. The customer is even more happy because you got back quicker. There's a saying for that. It's under promise and over deliver. That's the key. And that's not just for this, that's for everything. Don't promise the customer something that you're not going to deliver on. Education and upselling, educate the customer on maintenance tips, offer active cleaning products for washer. This is your time to offer things that you could get either give the customer or sell the customer. We do the detergent samples. We give all the customers detergent samples. If you are not signed up for that program, you should sign up for it. They send you Tide, Cascade, and I think Finish. Yeah, Finish has one too. Get those samples and hand them out. Get the active washer and dryer cleaner. Stock those on your van. You can sell them to the customer. You can get them at wholesale and then turn around and sell them to the customer and make an extra $15 or whatever it is. It adds up. It's not big money. Maybe they need stainless steel hoses for their washer. Maybe they need a new dryer vent. Maybe they need whatever. Document these things as you go, bring them to the customer's attention, and then, excuse me, allow them to make the decision whether or not they want to do it. All right, so the job is over. You've gotten paid. You got a process for all that. You got a process for how you do everything up to this point. The invoice has been sent. You're paid in full. Everything's just great. But it's not over yet, guys, because this is the one that most people, including myself, could improve on. How is your follow-up? Do you follow up with the customer at all? If the answer is no, you should. And do you have a system that is automated for following up? You do not need to call. If you want it to be more personable and call each customer, you can. But at the end of the day, set up some automations. Hey, thank you for choosing Richmond Appliance guys for your recent repair. We were just following up. It can be an automated email. If you want your CSR to dedicate some time to it, do it. No news is good news is used to be my motto. Hey, they're not calling back. That's good news. Most companies have zero follow-up because they assume silence equals satisfaction. This is an outdated mindset. It does not mean satisfaction. A lot of times it can mean they're calling somebody else next time. So call, follow up, and mean something to your customer. Don't leave it to chance. Designate one admin to call every customer from the previous weeks. Midweek's a good time to do it, or just automate it. If you don't want to deal with having a CSR, spend time doing this, just automate it. That's what I recommend. If manual car is unscalable, use tools, automated text 24 hours later. Ask for a review. How are you asking for reviews right now? How are you getting your customer to give you reviews? That's the question. If you are, I was laughing at Mike's text message. If you are asking the customer in person for a review, great. But you better make it simple. I have an automation set up in Workies where all I have to do is add a tag that says send review link. As soon as I add that tag to the job, it automatically sends the customer a review link. So I can say, hey, Ms. Johnson, hope you enjoyed the service today. I always ask, is there anything I could have done better? If she says no, say, oh no, everything was wonderful. Well, if I deserved a 5-star review, Miss Johnson, I'm gonna send you a link. Would you mind giving your boy TK a 5-star review? I don't ask for reviews. I ask for 5-star reviews. I don't want a 4-star review. I don't want a 3-star review. I definitely don't want a 2 or 1-star review. I only want 5-star reviews. All right, guys, we're wrapping this thing up. So, in the interest of time, I'm going to rock through this. Now is the time where you put into practice what we've talked about. You're going to download that customer journey workbook and you're going to map the journey. You're going to go through each one. You're going to see what your strengths were, what your weaknesses were, where you have room to grow. You're going to see where you have SOPs and where you don't. You're going to go over your non-negotiables for each step. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start building out your scripts for each level. So all the way from your first contact to your follow-up, all the way through. And then you're going to get your draft emails, your text templates. You're going to set up your automated. Automation is key, guys. You don't have to do all this stuff yourself. You can have automations doing things that you set in place once and they're done. And then empower your team. Once you go through this stuff and you start making the changes, share it with your team. Have a team meeting and go over. The good news is if you're a one-man show, it'll be a really short team meeting because it'll just be you there. But get used to going over these things, even if they're just with you or your wife or whoever. And if you are a one-man show and you're married, go over these things with your wife. Say, hey, babe, I want to share these ideas that I'm coming up with. Share them with somebody. Heck, if you don't got nobody to share them, hit me up. I'll listen to your ideas. I might learn something from you. And then it's always good if you do have a team, do some role play and active scripts. Practice those diagnosis explanations. And then once you're done, you're ready to do it, make sure you're tracking these things. Tracking them, create KPIs for different things. As you're going through these, ask yourself this question. Is there a KPI I could track to see how I'm doing? 5-star reviews, you can absolutely track that. If you're not already tracking that, you should. But as you get into your workbook, if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. It's not rocket science. And my biggest thing that I encourage you guys to do is don't make this thing a one and done because your business is constantly going to change. Your business is constantly going to grow. And you should probably be doing this customer journey thing at least once, if not twice a year. I'm actually thinking about starting to do it once a quarter. That way I can always be improving things. I can always be making things better. I have like a 2-hour team meeting tomorrow with my team, and I've been going through my customer journey and doing a bunch of changes to my company. And now it's time to actually put some action behind it and start changing some things. Um, so if you have any questions with that, let me know. If you're not already a member over at servicealliancegroup.com, we already have a lot of the stuff you're going to need for your company already done. SOPs, business documents, KPI sheets, different stuff like that that are going to help you with this stuff. We do have a promo code for those that watch this. It's Next Level 2026. You can use Next Level 2026 for 20% off your membership. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us, or just straight to me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. I know it's a lot to go over and it's a lot to think about, but the customer experience really is important. It is something that I myself uh have spent a lot of time working on, and I know for my company, it's everything. Um, I don't think my company would be where it is. Actually, let me rephrase that. I know my company wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for the experience that we give customers. So be honest with yourself and ask yourself, where can I improve? Where can I make some changes? And the big thing is if you don't have this stuff documented and you're not tracking things properly with KPIs and stuff like that, start doing it now. That is one of the biggest mistakes I made in the early days of appliance repair business ownership. I didn't do that stuff. So let's open the floor real quick. We only got a few minutes, but if you have a burning question, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll pull the chat up. I'm looking at all y'all's comments now. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate you, brother. And if you don't have any questions, I guess that means I did a good job, right? Either that or they're just being nice, right, Mike? All right. Well, as always, guys, I'm here for you if you need me. I'm gonna wait and just make sure no questions come through. But if you're an all access member and we're not talking regularly, hit me up, man. And if you're not an all access member, hit me up for a free one-on-one consultation. I always give people a free one-on-one consultation. Um, it's 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 the least I can do to try to show you what Service Alliance Group can do to help you in your business. Because we're all about elevating the industry and helping other business owners. And I do apologize for my dog barking in the background. My kids went out for Dairy Queen. If you didn't know, Dairy Queen has free ice cream today. So once you're done with this, go get some ice cream for your family. I'm new at this and in a rural area where our market is very different than most of you. Rural markets can be tough, man. But they can also be very lucrative if you make a name for yourself in a rural area. I have a buddy. I wouldn't say buddy. There's a guy I know. He's in a real rural area. Not a couple, maybe 45 minutes from me, and he kills it. Um, so yeah, different challenges for sure, but you can still kill it. You just got to make a name for yourself and get yourself an established an established name in the appliance repair game. But that can be a challenge for sure. Mike, you got any closing comments or anything you want to say?
Oh, I mean, I think when you're in a smaller area, since we're on that topic, it doesn't matter if it's a small area. What matters is that you're the choice. You
Yeah.
know, you're the one that's being referred. So the customer experience means more to you in those smaller areas, or it should mean more to you. So I would put a lot more emphasis on this in those cases. Um, I've heard a million times, oh, you don't, my market is so much different, it's so unique. No, it's not. This stuff, it doesn't matter if it's a big city, big area, small area, rural area, small town USA. It's all the same. It's all the same concept. Um, so that's just my advice and thought I'd throw that out there, but great job, TK.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you guys for joining us. If you haven't watched the cost of doing business webinar we did in January, I highly recommend you go there. This webinar is what's going to allow you to charge those professional rates that we encourage you to charge. When you're giving the type of professional service that my company gives, you can charge the professional rates that my company charge. Now, we're not the most expensive, but we are definitely not the cheapest either. And it's taken me a long time. So I encourage you guys to just put your hands to the plow now, get busy, make it happen, and start learning how to be a business owner now and learn from the mistakes of others. That's one thing I always say, like we've all made mistakes. So learn from other business owners like myself who's made a bunch of mistakes. Because that's what it's all about is helping each other and making things better. So anyway, you guys have a blessed night. I appreciate you guys for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one, I reckon.